the people involved in this era right now do have a greater responsibility, in my opinion, to implement and utilize and talk about the ethics of what they're doing, because the things that we're doing today will have huge ramifications. I do think it's just really important that we continue to think independently and use AI as a tool and not as the most tempting mental crutch that humanity's ever seen, which is what it is.
The future we're building, the future of tech development, all the fun things that we can be thinking about with the way that technology is moving forward. Mike Carnevale, thank you so much for joining us today. It is such an honor. You are an entrepreneur, a tech architect. You own Carnevale, which you have done. You have some high-profile clients, Honda and Grand Theft Auto. You've done some work with as well, right? You're also a bit of a philanthropist, starting your own 501c3 called the Tech Collaborative, correct?
Yeah, so Tech Collaborative is a nonprofit that basically pairs up what I like to describe as the unlimited demand of nonprofits needing tech solutions.
Yep.
Awesome.
And the infinite desire of young individuals wanting to get into technology. So we have a mentorship program that pairs those two audiences together so that young people getting into tech can actually start building products and websites and things like that for nonprofits.
That's really, really cool. Do you utilize I'm guessing the software developers that are working within Carnevale for some of that mentorship?
You know, we've been doing this for 20 years just within Carnevale.
Okay.
So now that we've spun this into its own standalone 501c3, we have our own employees.
Yeah.
And within the 501c3 Tech Collaborative organization itself that does a mentorship, but we also partner with companies like mine for mentorship opportunities. Would love to talk with Insight about this too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're in.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we're in.
Ryan's
just making decisions.
Done.
Can I just add a little something here?
Yeah, please.
Nonprofits. It's the easiest to talk to nonprofits. They're easy. They're always wanting, because their funds are so limited. Anything they can learn from or get for free, like they're paying attention to that. From my experience over the last 20 years or so, like technology for them is an expensive thing. So they will latch on to any, for example,
100%.
Free workshops. We get so many nonprofits coming. And they're open, and they immediately say, hey, we don't got a lot of money, but we want to do A, B, and C, and D. That's fine. You don't have a lot of money. You have a small business, and that just means that what the dollars you might need to do what you want to do might be lower than somebody else.
They're so constrained. But what's exciting about working with nonprofits, either the type of work that you do or the type of work that Tech Collaborative does, is that energy you're putting into that client relationship is having a real impact in the community.
As far as community, we have one of our values here is, or I should say, we serve our 3 C's, right? So our mission here is to transform businesses by adding value to technology, impacting lives, and creating success. And we do that by serving our 3 C's, which is our clients, our colleagues, and our community. And so I think we have a very similar mindset in wanting to serve our community. What are ways in which you guys are being intentional right now to reach out to your community, and what are ways are you seeing that 501c3 impacting your community?
I work really on 2 businesses. So we've got Carnevale, the software design development agency, which I think has its own kind of impact on the community, not just locally in Grand Rapids, but across the country in terms of the type of work we do at that kind of forward edge of technology. With Tech Collaborative, we're focused on West Michigan initially, but what we're really building is a model that can scale to impact lots of communities, because the demand for nonprofits needing low or no cost technology solutions is unlimited.
Right.
Yeah.
Every single dollar that they raise, they can choose to either direct it towards their mission or direct it towards a technology solution, which can be expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it's hard to raise every single dollar. So if we can be part of the solution to direct more dollars into their mission and still give them the technology they need to achieve that mission, that's huge. And I think a lot of foundations and other donors in the community see that as a way to impact lots of nonprofits, organizations kind of earlier on in the process.
Yeah. How are you guys finding talent? Just as far as people that have a desire, I think of my son right now. He's only, 8 years old, but loves to build, loves to be in that creative mindset. How are you finding people that want to jump into a program like this?
So what makes Tech Collaborative a little unique is that we're focused specifically on developing non-traditional talent that maybe doesn't have the opportunity to go to a college or other program after high school like that. There are actually a lot of organizations in West Michigan operating that are developing and talent and creating opportunities for kids in particular, and creating awareness that there's career tech paths. So we partner with those organizations. They're almost like feeders into our program.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh man, I love that. Okay. So the reason I love that is because I've recently been having conversations with my oldest. He's 10, or he'll be 11 in December, and he's already worried about college. What college do I need to go to, Dad? What should I be doing? How should I be doing this? And he's a planner, obviously at 11 years old, thinking about college already. And I'm like, buddy, like, what do you want to do? Do you feel like you have to go to college? Like, college is a great option. I believe in it. I've done it, but I don't think it's the only option. And I love the fact that you're providing a different opportunity than having to go through the traditional system of school. Because what you're saying is, hey, I want to produce a skill in people that, quite honestly, like with the development skill rather than just the education behind it, could quite possibly be a few steps ahead quicker than somebody that's graduating college with some type of a degree in development or whatever.
Did you actually ask your 10-year-old son if he thinks he needs to go to college?
I didn't yet, no. Because I'm like, yeah, like be thinking about that, right?
I want to know what he said.
No, I did ask him though, like what do you want to do? And I did say college isn't the only option, but I'm glad he's thinking about school, because what that tells me is he's got initiative, right? But still, that is, I mean, if he can save a bunch of money and he's doing what he loves, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But what I love about that too is when I ask you, like, hey, what is your 501c3 doing within the Grand Rapids community? Although it's serving other 501c3s and other not-for-profits, you're also giving people opportunity to develop a skill that's transferable and marketable within the business realm. And I think that's a huge impact to the city of Grand Rapids, especially a city that is now becoming one of the top tech cities in the nation. So all that to say, thank you, Mike. It's awesome, man. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited.
We are too. Thanks.
Yeah.
I have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old. 13-year-old, very similar to Travis's oldest, talking about college already. And my wife's all about ready to talk about college. I went to college. My wife went to college. My wife will talk about college, and I will be the first one to say, you don't have to go to college. There's so many things you can do. There's so many things you're going to learn. There's so many things you're going to be interested in, and college is not going to line up with what you want to do. I wish I understood that as clearly today as, back when I was 16, 17, 18. I felt like I was forced to go to college, and I did. It was fine. I just wonder what would have been different if I decided to not go to college and pursue a few other things earlier.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options. I mean, part of Tech Collaborative, just briefly, is we're using so much like open source. We're putting kids through like Harvard CS50 because it's available online, right? So this generation just has unlimited like access to information that they can use to start developing their careers.
Yeah.
The other part of that, as you were talking about that, Ryan, made me think about a conversation I had with one of our clients. Honda sponsors the Longevity Institute at Stanford University. And that department, it researches what is the meaning of, like, what's the impact on our lives if we start living to 80, 90, 100, 110 years old, right? And part of that is just multiple career paths during our lives. And if you think about it, like when we were growing up and we kind of got routed through, the university schedule. That kind of timeline is based on like a regular lifespan, right?
65, 70 years
right.
old, right? Yeah.
You go to high school,
Yep.
you get the training, you do
Yep.
your 30 years of career, you retire, you're good.
Absolutely.
Right? But what happens if and a lot of people are explaining, actually living through this right now, you've got 30 years of retirement, 40 years of retirement. There's no rush to define that career and to get it started the second you turn 21 to get that space. So having kids realize that you can take time to explore that and you don't have to choose one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Do you have any follow-up to that?
Just you're right. Choosing one thing. Like I have a friend who his first job ever was to stock the shelves at a Gordon food service store. And we are 32 years later and he still works at Gordon's and he's never had another job. He's worked in every department within Gordon's. He's been, in charge of huge teams. He's been in charge of small teams, but he's been there for so long.
That's rare.
It's crazy.
That's really rare.
And back in the day, I feel like it was more of a blue collar thing that people would stick into a trade for those long periods of time. And I
sorry, Ryan's friend, if you're watching it. There's no ill will here whatsoever.
He probably will be watching this.
Yeah, that's great.
He is one of the few people that's interested.
We'll bring him on.
What we do
talk.
here.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
But yeah, it's just crazy. It's bonkers.
Grand Rapids Community College has a program. I forget the acronym, but they teach welding, automotive repair, and home construction. And so they've got this huge facility where they've got people framing houses and doing electrical work on it, and a big auto garage and a big welding facility. And they've got amazing packages that you can go in and not even hardly pay a thing because it's all subsidized and everything.
Yeah.
And to me, that looks like a fantastic thing to do. Yes. In my retirement, I want to learn how to weld.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. And by the way, there's 500,000 open welding positions right now in this country.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I did MIG welding while I was in my undergrad. And so I was working 60 hours a week, MIG welding, and then I was...
So you know that lifestyle.
Yeah. I've got the scars to prove it on my arms. So
how do you know that there's 500,000 welding jobs? Who told you? The welding guy?
CC, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. The program
College.
Over at Grand Rapids Community College. Right. I thought you just researched this stuff and randomly, and you're I just know a lot about welding needs.
I showed up with one fact and I used it already.
Yeah. So. That was it. That's all he has.
That was pretty good.
Don't ask any more questions, please. Awesome. You know what's awesome? Number one, I was expecting to talk about your 501c3 later on, but I'm glad we were able to do it right up front here. And I think it really pertains to the overall topic and what we're talking about today, which is what does the future look like, especially as it pertains to technology. But before we do that, and I do want to jump into that, I just want to learn a bit more about you, Mike. Would you be willing just to share a little bit? I mean, the things that some of the audience is probably a bit more interested in, as well as your work with GTA, some of your capabilities on that side and what you were involved in there. I'd love to know a bit about your personal life. Do you have kids? Yeah, you're married. I see a wedding ring.
Well, I'll start with my family.
Please.
I've got two kids, a 20-year-old, she just turned 20, and an 18-year-old, and he just turned 18. So
cool.
That's I think we talked about that earlier.
We did,
That's kind of a big deal for my wife and I to have grown-ups.
You were in a different stage of life than Travis and I.
Yeah.
Where we have younger kids at home all the time.
Yeah.
You have kids that are never home, probably.
Right. Yeah, we have one. So one's out at college. She goes to Drexel out in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Studying the music industry program. She wants to work for a record label. Amazing degree.
That's awesome.
And my son's a senior at East Grand Rapids High School here.
Cool.
Awesome. And so we're right in that zone because all the the early action college admissions, you will worry about this in a few years.
Yeah.
But is in 2 weeks. All the the applications have to go in.
Wow.
So it's that time.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And does he have specific hopes for school?
Yeah, he's thinking about computer engineering.
Okay.
Cool.
So Big Ten type programs.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good for him.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited for him.
Yeah. Fun. Awesome. Married?
Married?
She's your best friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you guys like to do together?
We're a tight family. We travel a lot together. Kim and I have traveled since before kids. And when we started having kids, people are like, well, you're not going to be able to travel so much. And we'll be like, watch us.
Yeah, you're like, watch me. Yeah.
Right.
Good.
So the 6 months in, when our daughter was only 6 months, we went to Paris and we were pushing on a stroller in Paris and things.
That's so fun.
So we've really enjoyed traveling together.
Yeah.
All over the place.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and so we're gonna be the parents who are showing up in the RV like Cousin Eddie and
Oh yeah, yeah.
like just pulling up. They're like, "What's that idling sound outside?" It's okay. It's mom and dad.
I was this close to being Cousin Eddie for Halloween this year.
Yeah?
This close. I think I might next
It's not
year.
too late.
But my
isn't.
son wants me to be the Hulk.
The Hulk, Cousin Eddie. There might be a mashup in
Yeah.
there.
He doesn't even want anybody. He's going to be the Grim Reaper, but he wants me to be the Hulk. For some reason, it's going to be the Hulk and Grim Reaper walking around.
You're going to have to do like,
I don't know.
don't take this personally. You're going to need to work out.
Oh, I do not take that personally.
Okay,
at all.
good.
I think I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's going to be embarrassing.
It's gonna be great. Right.
Thank you.
It will
Appreciate it.
It will be great. Can we talk about GTA a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you tired of talking about this yet?
25.
No. I just
doing
don't.
it.
You know, I do bring it up because it is one of those name brands.
Yeah,
where people
totally.
say, you know, what kind of projects have you worked on? It's probably the best known project that or franchise that my company's worked on. It started our company. So back in 2001, this is our 25th year of business. I was offered the opportunity to work on Grand Theft Auto 3, which was the first version of Grand Theft Auto for those not around or playing video games in 2001. That was the first one in which it was first person view. It's actually kind of just
I played it.
above it. You played it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
3. Yes,
Yeah.
I played it probably a month within a coming out after a month. Yeah,
So that it was a big deal, and I didn't know.
it was a huge deal.
So I was, I mean, a casual gamer. Like I don't know which version of PlayStation I had, but a casual gamer. And we had been working with Rockstar Games on some other things, and they asked me if I wanted to work on the Grand Theft Auto 3 website. And I looked at what was going on in my life. My wife and I were about to get married. We're also about to celebrate our 25th anniversary next year.
Congrats. Yeah, that's awesome.
I had a full-time job, and now I have an opportunity to work on this website. And I'm like, I can't do.
You turned him freaking down, man. You turned him down.
So I was like, no, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. Ooh. But they asked me, I think of this, my friend Adam, he asked me a question that I think was like an inflection point. You know, our lives are full of different inflection points of things that could have happened differently or not happen at all. And this one was, he asked me, he's like, would you just give me an estimate? Just give me a quote. And I didn't want to say no. We'd already been working on a bunch of projects. So I thought I'd come up with an astronomically large number of $25,000.
Now, granted, it was 25 years ago.
It was 25 years ago.
But still,
Astronomical.
For the Grand Theft Auto franchise.
Yeah.
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 I would have said I would have done it for 25 grand with zero experience.
He was like, great. You got it. I was like, I can't plan our wedding. I can't have a full-time job. I can't do this. Something's got to go.
Wow.
So you didn't
quit
get
your job.
married. You got the wedding out of there.
Yeah, honey,
Set out
I
5
got
years.
bad news for you.
Oh gosh.
I don't think that's how
you
it
have
went.
a best friend out of it.
Yeah, right.
So
We're
that
still
means-
friends.
yeah.
We're still friends, and we have 2 kids.
2 kids and friends. Yep. Yep. Totally.
And that's I quit my job
Yeah.
3 months before the wedding, and created that website.
Wow.
Yeah,
And that was the beginning of Carnevale, right?
yeah, unintentionally. It wasn't like a big business plan. I'm going to start this thing. It was. I felt like, you know, my wife and I were starting this next chapter of our lives, and starting a new job might be kind of an interesting thing. So
Let's get married and start a new thing.
right.
In both worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's talk about the future. The future that we're building via technology. And I have a Lego car here on purpose. We are, when I think about where we're at right now as a culture, both in just like personal culture, but also in how we interact with technology, I think of my first Lego set. Mike, did you ever play with Lego when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
Was this your first set, Travis? Yeah. Have you had it that long or no?
No.
That was a serious question.
No, it was not. No, I purchased that for a different
curious.
thing. I often go to Lego. But do you remember your first Lego set?
So I remember that I had a bucket of Legos that
Yeah.
was handed down from like a cousin.
Okay.
Who, like grew
More
out of
economical
Legos.
way of doing Legos.
Right. It was just a bucket of just random, like
Pieces.
it was the era like before Legos were that nice. They were basically primary colors.
Yeah.
Mostly like bricks. And
Yep.
then some moon pieces.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the
Yeah.
moon surface.
Totally. You are a creative though. So when you get that as a kid, or I guess I perceive you as a creative, when you get that as a kid, what goes through your mind?
I was a kid who lived in the sandbox, played with Legos, was just constantly like in my own world.
Yep.
Just like building things, drawing things, making things.
Okay. Yeah. So when you see the Lego, you're like, okay.
It's an amazing toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going after this.
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I grew up on Legos, and the box of random Legos was my jam. Like, I very rarely had a set given to me where I followed the instructions. It was, here's 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
What do you do with this? And every weekend I made stuff.
Like digging.
Yeah.
Digging through
for looking for the
bottom,
pieces you
right.
needed.
Yeah.
It was like, I really like puzzles as well, jigsaw puzzles, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a similar thing where it's like, I love the time spent looking for the piece and the journey getting to the final thing. I love all of it going up to it.
I can function as a creative, although, and I had very similar experiences to both of you. Hand-me-downs, and most of my Legos were my older brother's Legos. And so digging through the bucket, finding the pieces that you're looking for, hopefully creating like your own ambiguous like fort with guns on it and all that stuff, right? That was so fun. But I distinctly remember the first set that I got, and I was like, oh, I'm going to build this. And I was in the third grade. It was my birthday party. My friend Robbie Scarrett came over for my birthday.
Robbie.
Thanks, Robbie. And we told him, Robbie, you do not have to bring a gift. We just want you to come over and hang out with us. He brought a gift, Lego. Okay.
Nice.
It's an airplane.
Cool.
First Lego set. And I remember seeing the box and being like, I'm going to build this. This is the first Lego set that I'm going to build. So I see the picture and I'm in it. And like, I remember we ate pizza, we had cake, we rip open the box and we start building, and we're going with the instructions, just going through it. And we get the picture, or we get the Lego set built, and it looks identical to the picture. And I'm like, this is awesome. And part of the reason that it's awesome is because, number one, there are Lego pieces that I've never seen. So like, I know that the airplane was, a rendition of probably the early 90s or late 80s airplane, but this was the newest one in the late 90s, right? Or mid 90s at that point. And so we're seeing Lego pieces you've never seen. The character had a mustache. Like, oh my goodness. Like the pilot has a mustache.
The minifig.
This is new. Yeah, exactly. The minifig. And I just remember thinking a few things. Number one, I'm going to build this thing. Number two, I can't wait to see what's coming out of this and what the new pieces are like. And number three, I can't wait to play with it. And I think technology has brought us to a very similar place as a culture, specifically as it pertains to AI. So you think about where we are, and I think if I can utilize this analogy for where we are as a culture, I think we've got new Lego pieces. And I think we even get to play with those new Lego pieces. But I think the picture's blurry. I don't know that we know where we are or even where we're going. And so to have somebody like you, Mike, that has, I know you've been, especially viewing some of your old podcasts or podcasts from 3 years ago, you have been playing in this realm of AI for a long time, much longer than me or Ryan or any of us, I think, many of us that have been in the technology world. And so when we first talked and we interviewed, you had said AI is the most impressive thing that I've ever seen. Would you be willing to elaborate on that for me?
Yeah, I like your analogy of Legos as toys that we can play with, and AI being the latest kind of digital toy. I think for a lot of us in technology, I would say probably for a lot of the team at Insight, we got into technology because each program, each tool, they're kind of like toys, right? And because of the pace and growth and evolution of technology is always kicking out new toys, always. That's fun for us, right? Compared to some other industries that don't necessarily have these constant innovations popping up that we have to, number one, figure out for ourselves and play with, and then number two, figure out how to make those useful and valuable for clients and business context, right? And so I think AI is just the latest of a long line, a lineage of toys going back to the first personal computer, right? Gaming consoles, like even though those are toys that you plant, it's still like a thing.
It is, yeah.
Right? And then mobile devices, smartphones, and then even beyond that, all different types of packages from the first websites to web applications. Like these are all toys.
Social media itself.
Right.
I mean, you could consider it that it's a toy we're just playing with.
Right. So I think people in the technology field, this is why we're here.
Yeah.
Because we get to constantly be playing
the
stuff.
Dopamine just keeps hitting all the time with all the new things.
Right. So when I say that AI is the most impressive thing, it's like I've been opening toys under like the technology Christmas tree forever. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's happened so fast and it's become so ubiquitous already that it's very easy to take for granted. It's like, okay, the shine's worn off. I'm just going to ask it questions. My son, uses it to have him quiz answers or quiz questions so we can study for a test. I mean, I think everyone's kind of figured out how it's useful for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't use it to just get the answers to the tests.
Yeah, you didn't tell me about that.
Good for him.
I'm going to be honest with you. He's 18. He's doing it. He's doing it.
He had a good prompt. I saw the prompt.
He's smart. Yeah.
Right.
Prompt was
that's
awesome.
the
prompt was
double-edged
like, don't tell me the answer. Quiz me again on it.
That's the double-edged sword with AI when it comes to certain things. It's like, you can do it to help yourself or just shortcut all the way there.
Right.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a case by case.
I think AI has been like the inevitable kind of direction where all this has been going.
Sure.
I think for people in technology, we've kind of hoped it would be here, and it's what we've been looking for. We've wanted a smarter search engine, right?
Yeah.
We want to get the questions answered more quickly. We want something to point out errors in our code or even to write the code itself. Like we've wanted this.
I love that you say that, because even though there are so many flawed things about AI right now, even like let's talk hallucinations to a certain extent, it's still crazy useful, because even in the coding side of things, you can it can help 70% of the way there. And then the rest, you're like, okay, now I have to use this skill from here. Right? They call that vibe coding. I've been reading about that, right? So like such fun things, even if it's not perfect, it's what we have to play with right now. So we'll take the Lego and we'll run with it, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Tell me about the thing that excites you the most. Now, I know you alluded to, hey, this is a new toy and we get to kind of unwrap something new every day. As far as like, I think business is concerned, even personal, what are the things most that excite you about AI?
So AI provides lots of opportunities. We've talked about some just in terms of increasing efficiency and it being a great tool, right? But to get more specific about it, it offers the ability for products to exist that could not have existed without AI. And then it also offers the opportunity for products to get to market more quickly. So products that have existed now can be improved upon and created more quickly.
Can I stop you right there real quick?
Yeah.
Because there's something that you parked on, and I want to pause there. The products that couldn't exist with AI for people that are in the business realm and even thinking like, how should I be utilizing AI in my business? What are some of those products?
So we launched an application this summer for a company called Outdoor Lighting Perspectives.
Okay.
They do outdoor lighting for homes. So like, you see a home like really nicely lit.
Oh, yeah.
Super tasteful.
I pay attention to
uplighting
those kind
and
of
all
things.
that. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Before this app, their sales process was to show a homeowner pictures of other houses with great lighting. And that homeowner would have to like think about it. The alternative that they had was they would show up later at night when the sun went down, which is hard to do during the summer. And they
Sure.
set up like these portable lights to show them
What it
give
would
them
look
an
like.
idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We created an app that allows a salesperson to take a picture of their house right there and
buddy.
show 5 different
ways light can
Ways
affect
lighting.
it, or
So they're not there in the middle of August at 11 p.m. or
Right.
middle of July.
they just get it on Monday over the weekend. or
they
whatever.
can they get it in real time.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
on site. Like
dang.
they're able to see it immediately and talk with the consultant.
Yeah.
And that taps into something what we call emotional engagement, which is a really important part of software that is beyond just does the software work well. It moves forward to does the software kind of inspire emotion or resonate with me in some way? And seeing your own house gorgeously lit up triggers an emotional response,
Oh,
right?
for
It's
sure.
your home.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's never looked more beautiful, and now you want that product.
Yeah.
I would buy anything if
Yeah.
someone came to my house and like showed me like this is what it could look like with just some lights. Hey, sign
Exactly.
me up, man.
Yeah.
So that's something that you could not have generated those renderings
Sure.
in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Without
You
AI.
would have to take several weeks, and we'll get back to you, or even you first have to get a good rendering of the house, and then you're doing the lighting.
And the emotional piece is gone at that point. It's
Yeah,
like
right.
it's hot when it's in the moment.
Yeah.
And you can show
Yeah.
them in the moment.
Exactly. That's a really simple. I mean, we built that product in like 6 weeks.
Wow.
It's essentially
Very cool.
It's a really simple app that captures this, sends a prompt that's been basically acts as your virtual consultant and returns it. So that's like the level 1 of
Baseline.
what AI can do,
Yeah.
right? In terms of automations and connecting to other systems, it's just up from there.
Okay. That's awesome. So to go back to the original question, does that answer then the question about what's most exciting to you?
I'll describe a little bit more about what Carnevale does,
Okay.
which I think will help the viewers understand why this is particularly exciting. So we operate at this intersection of advanced technology and advanced consumer experiences. And I think of those as like these dual wave fronts that are
Okay.
constantly moving. All the way back since the beginning of my career, it's always been what is the front edge of cool things online or digital?
Yeah.
And how can we use the latest new toys coming out to apply to these business problems?
Sure.
Right? And so these new toys that came out, say, in 2010 are mainstream by 2012, 2013.
Sure.
And so it's this constant thing. So right now, AI is one of the aspects on the forward edge. What's particularly exciting right now is that you've got a bunch of interesting technologies that are all coming of age. It's almost like this post-web era happening right now. Like our lives have kind of been defined by the growth of the web,
The internet.
Yeah.
the internet for 20 years. But now these digital experiences are kind of jumping out of your web browser and into every different parts of our lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So we're seeing things like sensors being really amazingly affordable and also really like delivering tons of data when you need it. You've got augmented reality and extended reality technologies.
Sure.
AI. So there's so many, blockchain. All of these things are kind of coming together to this very exciting moment where interesting solutions are interesting combinations of all of these things. So even just something simple like the outdoor lighting perspective app only exists because it lives on a smartphone. We've got these cloud networks that allow us to be able to hit the OpenAI API and to be able to generate this and kick it back and do that, standing in someone's yard.
Yeah. Yeah. Something you had mentioned as you were talking was, hey, for the last 20 years, we've been using the internet as best as possible, right? And really, like, the internet was what I would call like your assistant to a certain extent to give you the information that you needed or that a tech would need to be creative. I guess my main question within AI specifically is that creative muscle that I would say developers or people that are even builders, and do you feel like AI may have an impact in weakening that muscle? Or I guess, yeah, what's your stance on that as far as how AI might impact culture in new ways today?
I think back to, say, the desktop publishing revolution of the 80s or 90s, right?
Sure.
We went from designing things using like really traditional tools of like cutting out things on posters and laying it out and taking a picture of it, and that would be the poster, to having tools like Photoshop and Illustrator to be able to do that on a desktop.
Yeah.
I would bet if there were a podcast back then, they'd be asking that same question, right?
Sure.
Is this weakening our ability because now we don't have to do some of those things?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I would say that, I guess it might make you weaker in that respect of the traditional approach. But clearly, we all have the benefit of seeing 40 years of post-desktop publishing and seeing what it's enabled us to do. And I don't think we've seen a weakening of actual creativity. We've seen different kinds of creativity that couldn't have happened prior.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
So I do think AI does run the risk of impacting our traditional creative modes.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it'll be noticeable during a transition time, but it's going to open up. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Sora 2, the latest video generation engine from OpenAI, but I mean, it's going to give rise to entirely new forms of creative expression.
Insane.
I love how you put that, because really, and I think this is probably true for most, if we think of AI as a tool, right? And you think of like, let me use an example. My dad, when he was in his early 20s, was a painter. He made $50 a week painting houses in Grand Haven, Michigan. Okay. And he, in the beginning, would use paintbrushes, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you've ever seen somebody that utilizes paintbrushes a lot, their forearms are ginormous, right? Because they're doing this all the time. Mm-hmm. And then you start to graduate in tools, and you're like, well, I'm going to start utilizing a roller. Well, all of a sudden the forearms start to maybe dwindle a little, but the shoulders get really strong, right? And so,
cool analogy.
Yeah, I picture that, like, for the generation coming up, you might have guys like our age who have really strong forearms and they know how to utilize the internet and all the things to be creative. But you've got this next generation coming up and they've got humongous traps. You know what I mean? So like they're just exercising different muscles. And I think when it comes to technology, it's super important for us to be ready and willing to exercise those new muscles, to learn new things, to stay on top of success for your business or success for yourself in the personal space as well. So love all that to say, I love your thought process on that.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
and it's going to be exciting to see. There are minds that are growing up with AI that have a total different way of interfacing with it. And that generation is going to make some really mind-boggling things.
I agree. That brings me to one of my, I think, more itching questions that I have. And I've actually had a couple of meetings with, I think, people who would be probably considered so early in the game, but AI ethical experts. And I'm not sure how you can be an expert in that yet because it's so new. But all that to say, the question that I have is, for the next generation, do you feel like we, as, the late 30s, early 40s / mid 40s / mid 50s or early 50s.
I'm not 50.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Do you feel like we have a responsibility in some of this, in teaching the next generation or setting up governing principles or anything like that?
I think older generations, including you, Ryan, we at any phase of technology have always had the responsibility to help guide the wise use and implementation of it. I think a parent has a responsibility to introduce technology into their home in a way that gives good energy to their kid rather than drains it or does anything negative with it. So I think professionally, what I find also very exciting about this particular moment is that there is so much change in technology. It's all disrupting right now because of not just the fact that AI exists, but it exists alongside all of these other technologies that are coming of age. That the people involved in this era right now do have a greater responsibility, in my opinion, to implement and utilize and talk about the ethics of what they're doing, because the things that we're doing today will have huge ramifications. Yeah. It's like the guy who invented the mouse in the 70s or something. That had ramifications for people's lives. And I mean, think of all the tendinitis that's been caused by that.
Yeah.
And all the things that were created. So like if something as like, hey, here's a new input method, has all these unknown consequences. So, and that was at a kind of a critical era. The person who invented Windows and Xerox PARC was operating during that time. And all of those things became part of everyone's daily life. And that's where we are, all of us in the technology industry are right now. We are defining the next 30 years of digital experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Ooh. What do you think the greatest risk is in it?
The greatest risk.
T1000.
If you can give us your humble opinion. I know that's hard, right? That there's so many things, so many implications of AI, both in creating conveniences and in creating efficiencies. But when you think about, the muscles that you have right now within business or the generation right now has is, can you park on any one thing that might be, hey, this is something we should be thinking about?
I would say just human dependency on technology. And the reason why this comes to mind, there was a sports event over the weekend. And so a lot of parents and kids were at a hotel out in Brighton. And this particular Marriott, the systems were down. Which you think, okay, like what's a hotel manager really doing? They're just in charge of the doors of the rooms. That's it. There's just a bunch of rooms with doors on it.
Wow.
They could, like it was bedlam. They couldn't let people in the doors. They didn't know which, they didn't even know who was in what room.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't assign new rooms because it's all digital. So the whole system broke
And the
down.
key cards are all swiped digitally with
because the power's out.
Well, their computer system was down. The power was fine. So they had to go knock on room by room to see who was even in a room and who wasn't in a room, so they could distribute a room. So that's just a basic database failure problem is what happened. Right?
Yeah.
The more of our daily processes that we do outsource to both mundane things that we want to outsource and also higher level thinking things that we outsource, we run a risk of really become helpless in stupid situations.
Sure.
Like that. That was a dumb situation. It's like we're just talking about doors. Like no one got hurt. Everyone was fine.
We're just stuck. Stuck in the courtyard of the hotel.
Right.
Yeah.
I read a article today that the general in charge of the Korean, like South Korea, has developed a really great relationship with ChatGPT and has been exploring different like battle scenarios and things. And it was actually this is the first time like a major general who's in charge of like a command like that has been public about it.
Wow.
So the risk there, I mean, we could go through lots of different risks, but the risk there is how much of that information is accurate, right? That they're getting from, like, there's concerns all over the place when we start depending on systems. So it maybe ties a little bit to your question about our creative dependency on this and does it weaken it. I do think it's just really important that we continue to think independently and use AI as a tool and not as the most tempting mental crutch that humanity's ever seen, which is what it is.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that general has created a very strong relationship.
His words.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a relationship, right? I mean,
Scary.
he is straight. I have a relationship with ChatGPT. And that's, I think for all of us, that's not far from the truth. We have some type of relationship with AI if you're utilizing it, which I do believe if you're not utilizing it, you're behind the times. So like, get with it.
And it acts like another person.
It does. Yeah.
Right.
I greet my AI good morning AI, whatever I'm using, so that it's like more personable. All that to say though, what are some indicators that relationship might be becoming unhealthy?
Well, before I answer that, Sam Altman was asked how much energy is used when we say please and thank you and niceties.
Ridiculous amounts.
Ridiculous amount of energy. So I would just maybe
Stop
suggest
that. Stop
it's not
it, Travis.
necessary.
I'm doing it.
Stop saying
I'm
hello,
a
please, good night.
No,
You're hedging
doing
your
it.
bets.
You're burning up our environment.
Listen, when iRobot becomes a real thing, they're going to be like, that guy was nice.
I mean,
we'll be right. He can stay out till 10:05 p.m. instead of 10. It's just so natural and a part of who I am. Like I don't know that I can. I mean, I just do it. That's just kind of who I am.
And I mean, it's wild to think that that's just a user interface.
Yeah.
We never said thank you or sorry to Microsoft Word.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
ever.
Clippy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe putting a face to the app
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's because it kind of takes this position as it's a person talking to you.
Well, it's also a learning tool as well. So it's learning how you interact with it, right? So I don't want it to be rude to me when I jump on, right? I want it to be pleasant. So, and even to joke with me as well. So all that to say, what are the indicators that it becomes unhealthy?
I read another article that said something like after using it for like 3 months, people actually scored lower on cognitive tests. So just like the paint or brush, like your mind atrophies as well. So I think there are indicators of how dependent are you? How easy is it to write a paragraph without assistance?
Yeah.
I think we all know it. We all can kind of feel it, like it would be so much easier if it just cranked it out. But I think at the same time, we all know what AI-generated text looks and sounds like. And so it's a question for us, is it worth it for us to have our own voice when we write?
Yeah.
Or does it not matter and we just want to express an idea as efficiently as possible? That's okay too. I think it's an individual judgment call of how they want to direct their energy.
Yeah.
But if we don't make that judgment at some point,
as long as they're choosing.
Exactly. So if we don't choose, we're just going to succumb to this thing, and we're going to become so lazy and just let it do all the things if we don't understand it this way ahead of time, I feel like.
Brings me to my next question. Should there be a system of accountability within it? And if there is, who regulates that?
I think this is one of those spaces that is being discussed. I think OpenAI created its own panel of people. Anthropic has its panel of people. There's some industry-wide organizations, but there is no universally adopted accountability panel. And software industry has traditionally resisted any kind of standardization. I think if you look at regulated industries, software is not regulated.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is actually pretty amazing that software has gotten this far compared to other
hardware
infrastructure.
Highly
regulated infrastructure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, technology, the whole world runs on technology, and there's no regulation.
I never thought about that. That's a good point.
There's starting to be when it gets to privacy, like HIPAA compliance and how you're storing data, that is regulated, but it doesn't go far beyond that.
It's just where you can sell your app or your software where you can sell it because of what it does.
Yeah, and I think it's that way because technology changes so quickly.
Yeah.
The slow moving regulatory bodies can't move as quickly. So by the time they come up with the regulation, we've already moved beyond it.
Yeah.
And I would say even with AI, if there was government level regulation, AI would mature beyond it where it is today.
If we can stick with the analogy of the picture on the box of the Lego, we're talking about building our future, right? This stuff, these pieces of technology that are coming out right now, they are actively building our future. If you had a crystal ball, or if you could see the picture on the Lego box, what does that look like to you? Can you start to make it out? I know it's blurry for most people. Can you start to see what that is, and what does that look like to you?
I think it probably has the biggest impact on the nature of the workforce. I think technology for most of its history has been focused on, it's been treated kind of like a trade in that people learn hard skills. And creative thinking and leadership and a lot of these type of value traits are maybe taught secondary to you need to learn the language of C#. You need to learn Java, right?
Sure.
You need to learn architectures. So I think as AI becomes more of a software development partner and doing much more of the code generation, individuals in the field have to be higher in the creative thinking space and leadership space. We can even think of AI agents as a workforce that you're directing, right? And if you think of it that way, then individuals who are directing all of these agents to do their work have to be leaders.
Sure.
Right? Just because it's a digital thing versus it's still, you have to be strategic about how you're allocating resources. You have to think of, map the business requirements and business goals back to the outcomes of your AI team. So I would say the individuals who will be most successful moving forward are those who are able to transition from being kind of a skill-based type software developer to a leader and a creative force.
So there's a piece of the puzzle or the picture. What about on the personal side?
What's going through my head is like, the movie Her, for example. Like there's going to be a lot of weird stuff happening.
Yeah.
As humanity kind of figures out what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, there's already, I had saw either a video or an article or something like that somebody was already trying to marry their AI bot or something like that. And you're like, okay, well, I guess.
That was fast.
Yeah, that was fast. Yeah, somebody trying to like marry their Corvette.
Every time there's like a major leap, it's under the guise of like an efficiency multiplier. So personal computing, big efficiency, right? Internet and web connectivity, huge efficiency. It's always with the promise of you'll have more time, right? So we kind of saw what we've done with our time in each of these. So say with personal computing, now we have more time to run more operations and be able to communicate. Internet allowed the connectivity. We can communicate with more people more quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the question, and I'm not even going to try to answer it. The question for us is, what are we going to do with that more time and the features that AI allows for us? Because it is an efficiency multiplier, but what is that going to result in?
Sure.
Hopefully it's to get to a 4-day work week. Isn't that what you guys promote over at your place?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah?
We have
36 or is it 36 hours?
It's 36 hours. So some people choose to do that over 4 days. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what we can do. We're like, finally, we'll get to a 4-day work week because we are utilizing AI so well.
Yeah. You had alluded to this earlier, Mike, and you talked about kind of that emotional connection or emotional response that AI should be or could be triggering emotional response. Tell me a little bit more about that. You seem pretty passionate about that specific topic.
So you'll notice a lot of times I kind of do callbacks into things that have happened in the past because I think it helps us understand what might happen in the future, right? So with software, for example, software started out as just purely functional. And I'm talking about old computers with green letters and black background, right? Sure. It was just you give it something, it kicks it back, right? Pure functionality. So if you think almost like a pyramid, that is the base of the pyramid. It just is a pure utility, right?
Yeah.
That progressed to nice user interfaces, right? So we went from pure utility, like early versions of MS-DOS and things, to Microsoft Windows. So now we have this kind of nice interface and a better user experience that allowed us to interact more effectively, right? That was like the next level.
Sure.
That has evolved to the modern field of user experience where now we just expect every single product to work really well and to look good while it does that. And that was not always the case, right? That's kind of been the last 20 years growth. So what's next? So the next thing is now that a good user experience is just par for the course, companies see that there's certain products that are much more engaging than other products. And it has nothing to do with how easy it is to use. And most applications are very easy to use, right? But when we look at products like TikTok, like Fortnite as a game, these are experiences that are captivating. And what's captivating about it? It's they're emotionally engaging. They operate at a higher level than just pure utility that's easy to use and seamless and low friction. It's actually provides us with joy and entertainment. Not just joy because it's a cool transition and it's like a fun little animation or something, but actual human sense of joy, empathy, compassion, all of those things.
What are the emotions that we capitalize on most on the technology side?
We like capitalizing on, and I don't even want to use that word because that implies, because the idea of capitalizing does sound manipulative. I would say we want to create products that bring joy, and not just a joy of like this is easy to use, but actual like this is improving how I interact with the world and interact with other people in a fundamental way that actually does bring a happiness or reduces suffering in some way in my life.
I actually asked that in a provocative way on purpose. The diffuse is good. And I wanted you to have an ability to explain that, because I think from a marketing perspective, a lot of people would say, oh yeah, great. You're making money because you're creating an emotional experience. Well, the reality of it is yes, to a certain extent, but more than that, we're creating an experience that feels natural and something that you enjoy. And so it's worth the money to a certain extent. So yeah, I appreciate that.
To just continue on the capitalization, there are companies who do capitalize on other emotions and other motivations that we all have, right?
Absolutely.
Fear. Right. That's, I think a lot of marketing is kind of wants to tap into the fear I'm behind, fear I'm missing out, fear of those things to prompt, an action. We don't realize as users of software products like any social media app in particular, that the level of psychology that goes into the development of those tools. Another department within Stanford is the Institute of Persuasive Technology. Ooh. And that's been, BJ Fogg founded it at least 15 years ago. So he's been studying and teaching people and holding like classes on how we can use technology for persuasion.
Yeah, interesting.
I believe he does it in an ethical way. He's a great person. But it just goes to show that there's an intention behind all of the features of an application. And it shouldn't be any surprise why there is so much kind of like emotional angst in social media apps, because social media apps are playing with our emotions.
Yeah, and like what a responsibility for those that are developing those apps and creating those apps as well, right? I mean, within that creation itself, you're talking about an experience that you as a creator to a certain extent have some control over.
Absolutely.
And so I've never thought about that before. You've got me reeling now as I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
I feel like that's why there's so many lawsuits out there in social media land where they're doing this or not doing this. And
yeah,
similar to like, we don't have those regulations for AI. It's like we have started to put in regulations for social media, but then again, it's different. There's differences by state, by country, by internet usage, by all these other ways of potentially weighing against it or for it. It's so hard. It's just such a mind-boggling thing to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Silicon Valley has always kind of been a libertarian kind of outpost there. And so just the idea of having some sort of unified regulating body is just not going to pass unless it's really imposed.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk for forever, but I want to keep moving it along here. There are a couple of other things that I wanted to connect with you on specifically. When we talked before, you had mentioned that there was this, what you would call a healthy level of paranoia for you to stay ahead. Could you describe that for me? And then I'm sure I've got some more follow-ups after that.
Yeah, I think it's just been something that's haunted me since I first started out on my own 25 years ago. And it has to do with, I think, being an independent entity and having my own company and being responsible to the team, that we are vulnerable to, like any business, to fluctuations of the world. Technology pace is just one of them.
Sure.
Right. And then at the same time, making sure that we're staying ahead in that constantly moving pocket. There is no rest, right? If those dual wave fronts are constantly moving. And it's something that we love, like the constantly opening presence, but it's also something that we're totally obligated to, not just for ourselves, but for our customers who depend on us to keep them relevant and to give them advantages in the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it requires a healthy level of paranoia to really make sure we're staying up on all of the dynamics happening in the world at any given point that could impact. And there's a particularly large amount of change happening right now in terms of technology agencies, in terms of how enterprise organizations are spending, and where that spending is going. I think if you look at any sort of kind of startup news, the amount of dollars going into AI infrastructure is shocking.
Yeah.
Like there are, double-digit and billions deals happening weekly and triple-digit happening monthly. So it's like unbelievable sums of money.
Yeah.
And that's building that infrastructure. So constantly making sure that the services that we're providing are relevant, are mapping to where the market is going, and also mapping to where society is going, because it's ultimately society that is using the technology that we're creating.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that creative side of you had mentioned something. You said, there is a point in which you feel like, you can't necessarily rest. I feel like as people and as humans, we're not robots, right? We have to find a healthy sense of rest. And even within that creative thought process, like if I'm trying to be creative, I need to be away from things that are systematic to a certain extent. So that way I can, maybe it's not that I'm resting my brain, but I'm using another piece of my brain. Mm-hmm. And so I guess my question really kind of is a bit more personal on your creative process. When is it that you can actually find rest, but remain in that healthy tension of paranoia that you talk about?
Okay. So the healthy paranoia does not haunt me every day, all day.
Okay, good.
Okay. I've got a special compartment that I can put
Keep
away.
it in there.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Teach me those tricks, man.
Yeah.
I think just being a parent and prioritizing family, as you guys know, is probably the best way to find balance. And I know that if I didn't prioritize my family in the way that I do, my business would probably look different.
Sure.
But I don't have any regrets, especially as I see my kids growing up and and moving on to the next challenge in their lives, it makes me, not regret one minute of time that I spent with them versus with the company.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's great.
Good.
That's
I
great.
like that.
How do you stay curious?
It's just built in to me. I think curiosity is what keeps the world really, really interesting, and there's new forms of curiosity as you grow, and as you learn more things, you're like, I didn't know about that. As you go through parenthood and interacting with your kids as they grow up and seeing the world through their eyes. So I think it's a trait that a lot of creative people just have built in. Creative in technology, creative in design, creative in business.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, Mike, it's been such a pleasure to have you here.
Absolutely.
I'm so thankful that you came to hang out with us. I do have one more question before we go. It's if you could give one thing for free for our audience as it pertains to how the future might impact somebody else, or how they might be prepared for the future of AI or business or whatever that might be, personal life, what's the one thing you would give them for free?
I'll go back to my comment about really emphasizing creativity. I think organizations that are in the business of commodities have always had a hard time, but it's going to get harder. I think the commodities are going to be even more accessible, and we're seeing it with tools like Sora 2 of anybody can create Hollywood quality CGI.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Right. So that's just one example.
Yeah.
So I think making sure our economy, and that means every one of us, really learns to be creative and to find ways to build our creative muscles is how we'll ultimately add value to each other in our team and to our customers.
Love it.
I like that.
Love it.
That's good.
Yeah. Mike, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Travis. Well done. And thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely. Thank you.